If you like a cheeseburger, a McDonald's cheeseburger, or a Diet Coke, which my boss loves, and you should be able to get them. If you want to eat, but you should know what the impacts are on your family and on your health.
What if the burger on your plate isn't just unhealthy, but a slow poison approved by the very system meant to protect you? Investigators have already found burgers with 3 times the normal level of bacteria in some McDonald's branches. A Big Mac. Over 1,000 calories and nearly 90 separate ingredients, many linked to obesity, diabetes, and even cancer. And yet, the average American still eats there at least once a week, with regular customers spending almost $200 every month. Ask yourself this: if your food can sit for years without rotting, what is it doing inside your body? Why are chemicals used in cosmetics and even toys allowed in something you feed your kids? And why hasn't anyone stopped it? This is the Downturn Report, where the truth gets personal. Today, we expose what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. calls one of the biggest health betrayals of our time. Don't eat at McDonald's again until you watch this. Number 1. Hidden hooks. Ever feel like McDonald's is smiling at you with that big yellow grin just a little too wide? Like a salesman who already knows you're going to say yes before you open your mouth? It's not an accident. That red and yellow charm works harder on your brain than a carnival barker yelling "step right up." Red pumps your heart faster, making you feel like you need to act now, while yellow pats you on the back, whispering that it's all friendly and harmless. But tell me this, would you still crave a burger if those walls were gray and dull? Or have we all been trained like circus animals, jumping through the same bright-colored hoop for a treat we don't need? Think about how many times you walk through those golden arches. At least 50 times every single year for the average person. That's more than $450 gone before you even notice. And if you're one of those daily visitors, that number balloons to $200 every month. Let that sink in. $200 that's groceries for a week, or part of a light bill, quietly slipping into a cash register that doesn't care if you're broke by Friday. Does that sound like choice, or does it sound like you've been nudged, poked, and pushed right where they want you? Look at how they set the trap. Combo meals placed perfectly at eye level, big smiling pictures shouting limited time, red banners screaming special, making you panic like a kid worried all the candy will be gone. You grab more than you planned because they've made it look like you're saving money when you're not. Over 70% of people admit to spending more than they meant to at McDonald's. Are you really that hungry? Or is your brain being hustled like a tourist at a rigged card game? And it doesn't stop there. That warm smell floating in the air isn't just for fun. It's meant to make you hungry when you're not. The music speeds up when they want you to eat and leave, slows down when they want you to linger and buy more. Even the food itself is engineered sugar, fat and salt mixed in a way that flips the same switches in your brain as addictive substances. Some experts whisper it's as close to legal addiction as you can get. And those soft drinks? Oh, they taste better here for a reason. Stainless steel storage, double-filtered chilled water, and secret deals going back to the mid-50s make every sip smoother than anything in a can. That's not magic, that's control. Sharpened over 70 years, waiting at more than 13,000 locations for you to drive by. Now, here's a thought. What if instead of letting them play your cravings like a fiddle, you put that $200 toward better food, maybe from a local diner where they still cook like they care? Or even fresh groceries you can turn into something that won't trick your brain into begging for more. Wouldn't it be nicer to eat because you're truly hungry? Not because a corporation has figured out how to press your buttons better than you can. Number 2, Sweet Trap. You'd think a diet drink was a friendly handshake. Right. A promise that you can have all the taste without the guilt. But let's be honest, doesn't it feel strange that something with 0 sugar and 0 calories still tastes like a candy shop exploded in your mouth? That's no miracle of nature, that's a chemical trick. And McDonald's plays it like a magician, distracting you with one hand while the other quietly picks your pocket. The star of this sweet show is aspartame, and here's where it gets unsettling. This stuff is not just a little sweeter than sugar, it's almost 200 times sweeter. 200 times. Wrap your head around that for a second. Would you pour 200 spoons of sugar into your coffee and still call it healthy? Of course not. But this is how they keep you coming back. A tiny bit of aspartame fools your taste buds into thinking you're indulging, while your body gets tricked into a game it can't win. Manufacturers know exactly how much to use, just enough to keep you hooked, but not enough to make you feel sick right away. It's like feeding a dog, just enough scraps to keep it wagging its tail, never enough to let it walk away full. And here's the ugly truth when you look closer. Break down aspartame, and you get three little troublemakers: phenylalanine, aspartic acid, and methanol. Phenylalanine, despite its fancy name, can mess with your head, triggering headaches, spikes in blood pressure, and anxiety that creeps in like an uninvited guest who won't leave. Aspartic acid sounds harmless until you realize it overstimulates your brain, sending signals like a broken radio stuck on maximum volume over time. That can fry your nerve cells, a condition called excitotoxicity, which is as nasty as it sounds. And where does that road lead? Straight toward diseases like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and multiple sclerosis. That's not fear-mongering, that's a straight line drawn by medical research. Even in the so-called best cases, people find themselves dizzy, moody, snapping at loved ones for no reason, wondering why they feel on edge all the time. And methanol. That one deserves its own wanted poster. It turns into formaldehyde inside your body. Yes, the same formaldehyde used to preserve dead bodies. Would you willingly drink that if it were written on the label in big red letters? So, the next time a shiny diet label winks at you, ask yourself, are you drinking health, or are you sipping a lab experiment designed to keep you thirsty for more? Maybe that $2 healthy drink at McDonald's isn't the bargain it pretends to be. Put that money toward a glass of fresh brewed iced tea at a local diner. Or better yet, just plain water with lemon at home. At least you'll know what's in it and what's not, quietly eating away at your brain. Number 3. Deadly sweeteners. Have you ever stopped mid-sip of a so-called diet drink and asked yourself, what exactly am I swallowing, if you think the answer is just harmless sugar substitutes? Brace yourself. Methanol, one of the hidden culprits, is already a slow-burning threat. It's an alcohol that turns vicious when too many sources pile up in your body. Too much methanol clouds your vision, makes your head spin, and knots your stomach into nausea. For some unlucky souls, it doesn't stop there, it marches straight toward poisoning, blindness, and, in the worst cases, death. That's not an exaggeration. That's how methanol behaves, and it's sitting quietly in the smaller pieces of aspartame you sip without a second thought. But methanol is just the opening act. Enter sucralose, the real villain in this story. Picture this: a sweetener over 600 times sweeter than sugar. 600. Let that sink in. Would you dump 600 spoonfuls of sugar into your tea and still call it healthy? Yet this chemical is painted as safe. Even good for you. And here's where it turns ugly. Sucralose is designed by altering sugar molecules so they carry no calories, but the trick backfires inside you. It doesn't just hook you, it hooks the bacteria in your gut too. The harmful bacteria thrive on it like party animals at an all-you-can-eat buffet, while the good bacteria, those hardworking ones keeping your digestion balanced, die off slowly. The result? Swollen abdomen, unpredictable diarrhea, and even dysentery creeping in as if your gut just gave up defending itself. And that's still not the worst part. Heat turns sucralose into something far more sinister. When exposed to high cooking temperatures, it breaks into chloropropanols and dioxins. These aren't just scary words from a chemistry book. Chloropropanols are directly tied to cancer, while dioxins have been linked to birth defects and shredded immunity. Now imagine heating a McDonald's sweetened product or reheating it at home. Would you knowingly risk sipping on a chemical cocktail that whispers cancer and birth defects into your future? But wait, McDonald's doesn't stop there. Another player joins the lineup: acesulfame potassium, almost 200 times sweeter than sugar. It's mixed with other sweeteners to create that perfect real sugar taste you crave. Unlike sucralose, it stays stable under heat, which sounds safer until you see what it does inside your body. It tampers with insulin production, the very process that keeps your blood sugar steady. When insulin gets disrupted, your sugar levels spike like a roller coaster with no brakes. And where does that ride end? Straight toward diabetes. Severe and sometimes irreversible. If ignored. If a friendly-looking no sugar label smiles at you, ask yourself, is it really health in a cup, or are you paying for a slow ticket to sickness? Maybe skip that artificial sweetness altogether. A glass of plain water or homemade tea might not sing the same sugary tune, but at least it won't stab you in the back while pretending to be your friend. Number 4. Chemical feast. Isn't it strange how we've known about most of this for decades and still keep walking through those golden arches? Even when our stomachs aren't growling, that might be the scariest part, how deeply this habit has been carved into us. Like grooves in an old record that keeps playing the same tune no matter how scratched it gets. And if you think the worst is already on the table, brace yourself, because what's hiding inside some of McDonald's most popular items is enough to make you look twice at every bite you take. Take the McRib sandwich, for example. Looks simple. Right. Just a bun, some meat, a smear of sauce, something you'd expect to whip up at home with maybe half a dozen ingredients. But the bun alone packs 34 ingredients, most of them sweeteners and taste enhancers designed not to feed you, but to trick your tongue into begging for more. And here's the jaw dropper. One of those ingredients is ammonium sulfate, a chemical you'll also find in soil fertilizers. Yes, the same kind used to feed plants is going into your body. Would you sprinkle garden fertilizer on your dinner plate if someone labeled it safe? And the sauce, it's even worse. High fructose corn syrup and caramel color. 2 ingredients. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. himself points to as some of the biggest culprits behind America's obesity crisis. They don't just pad your waistline, they drag you closer to diabetes, one sweet bite at a time. But that's only the beginning. When you add up all the ingredients, the numbers are enough to stop you mid-bite. The McRib alone, 70 ingredients. The Filet-O-Fish, at least 101. The Sausage McMuffin, over 99. Even the so-called healthy chicken Caesar salad nearly hits 70. And the big breakfast with hotcakes, that one tips the scale with enough combined ingredients to pack nearly 1,500 calories in a single sitting. Now, ask yourself, does a breakfast plate really need the same number of chemical components as an entire aisle in a grocery store? And here's the part no one wants to admit: every one of these ingredients is there for a reason, and that reason is rarely your health. These additives are carefully engineered to make food last longer, look prettier, and keep you coming back, even if it means throwing your body into chaos. Still think it can't get any worse. Hold on to that thought, because what's next will make you wonder if we've been eating food, or a laboratory experiment disguised as lunch. Maybe it's time to stop letting convenience seduce us and start looking for meals made with real ingredients. Local diners, homemade dishes, even fresh sandwiches from the grocery bakery. At least those don't come with a side of fertilizer. Number 5, preserved forever. Imagine buying a cheeseburger and fries, tossing it into a plastic bag, leaving it in your garage, and then watching it sit there for years without changing. No mold, no rot, not even a bad smell. Sounds like something out of a horror movie, doesn't it? Yet that's exactly what happened in Iceland back in 2009, when McDonald's shut down its entire business there due to the collapsing economy. One devoted customer, a man named Jurison, bought the very last McDonald's meal sold in the country on October 31st of that year. At first, he kept it simply for nostalgia, a way to remember the restaurant he loved. But weeks passed, then months, then years, and the burger and fries looked exactly the same. Think about that for a second. A normal homemade sandwich would turn into a fuzzy science project after just a week on the counter. But this McDonald's meal aged like a wax figure in a museum, and that's precisely where it ended up. Jurison eventually donated the untouched burger and fries to Iceland's National Museum, where it was displayed for a year before curators nervously returned it. Their reason: they didn't want to risk being the ones holding it if it finally started to rot. Today, that same meal sits in a glass cabinet at the Snotra House Hostel, still attracting curious visitors. The hostel even set up a live stream camera so people around the world could watch. Nothing happened. No mold, no decay, just the same perfectly preserved meal staring back. Year after year, people online joked about it being the immortal burger, like McDonald's had discovered the secret to eternal youth. But food experts weren't laughing. They were horrified. What kind of chemical preservatives could keep a burger looking fresh for over a decade? And if those preservatives are supposedly harmless, why aren't we using them to keep our own food fresh at home? When pressed for answers, McDonald's gave a simple explanation: the burger hadn't rotted because there was no moisture. Without water, they claimed, microorganisms can't grow, so no decomposition occurs. Sounds reasonable. Right, except it doesn't. Experts didn't buy it. If dryness alone explained everything, then why do other dry foods eventually decompose, grow mold, or crumble apart. Since then, scientists have been keeping a sharp eye on McDonald's products, questioning what really goes into them to keep them looking perfect for so long, and the deeper they looked, the more disturbing things they began to find. Maybe that's the real question we should all be asking if a burger can outlast time itself. What exactly is it doing to your body once you eat it? Perhaps it's safer to turn to real food, freshly made sandwiches, home-cooked meals, or local diners where the only preservative is a fridge and not some secret chemical recipe pretending to be food. Number 6. Toxic bites. They look harmless. Don't they, tiny golden nuggets? Crispy on the outside, soft on the inside, almost calling your name like an old friend. But if you peeled back that crunchy coating on McDonald's Chicken McNuggets, you might feel your stomach turn. Scientists have revealed that less than half of what you're eating is actually chicken meat. Less than half. The rest a mash of ground chicken mixed with a cocktail of seasonings, binders, and chemicals to hold the pieces together. Cooked once, frozen, and then fried again before it ever reaches your tray. You think you're eating chicken, but what you're really biting into is a science experiment wrapped in breadcrumbs. One of the most worrying chemicals hiding in those bites is tert-butyl-hydroquinone, better known as TBHQ. Its job is to keep oils and fats from spoiling, making food last longer and look fresh. Sounds practical, right? Except when lab rats were fed TBHQ over several months. The results linked it directly to various cancers. Nausea and vomiting are just the early warning signs. The long-term risks are far worse. And while the FDA sets limits on how much TBHQ can be used, think about this: how many people eat McNuggets, fries, or other fast food items several times a week? The chemical builds up quietly, meal after meal, and your body has no way of flushing it out fast enough. And that's just the beginning. Chicken nuggets also contain a toxic mix called disodium, 5,2-ribonucleotides, made from disodium inosinate and disodium guanylate. These taste boosters trick your tongue into thinking the food is richer and meatier than it really is, but at a cost: kidney problems, hypersensitivity reactions in people with asthma and gout, and an increased risk for young children, whose immune systems can stop developing properly. But nuggets aren't the only culprits. Hash browns and biscuits are loaded with sodium acid pyrophosphate, or SAP, a leavening agent that makes food light and fluffy by creating air pockets. What it does inside your body is far less friendly. SAP strips vital minerals from your bones, weakening them over time, while its high sodium content puts extra strain on your kidneys. Biscuits and even shakes get an extra helping hand from cellulose, a plant fiber cows can digest because they have 4 stomachs, but humans can't. Instead, cellulose lingers in your system, contributing to bloating, swelling of the abdomen, and long-term obesity. And let's not forget dimethylpolysaloxane, the anti-foaming agent used in the oil for frying McNuggets and Filet-O-Fish. Just like TBHQ and SAP, this chemical is considered safe only in small amounts. But how small is small when you eat something from McDonald's at least once a week? Experts call them forever chemicals for a reason. They sit in your body for decades, piling up slowly, waiting for the day they tip the scale toward liver damage, hormone disruption, or cancer. So next time those warm golden nuggets seem too tempting to resist, ask yourself, are you really just eating chicken? Or are you feeding your body a ticking time bomb? One bite at a time. Maybe swap those nuggets for roasted chicken at home or from a small local deli, where ingredients still means food, not a chemistry set. Number 7. Silent poison. What if the very food you trusted to be safe enough was quietly stacking chemicals in your body like bricks in a wall, each meal another layer, each bite another step closer to sickness? That's the ugly truth behind what experts now call forever chemicals, the kind your body can't easily break down or flush out. The more you eat, the higher the pile grows, and over time, your immune system simply gives up. For some women, these eating habits have been linked to severe birth defects in their babies, and when you find out where some of these chemicals are also used, the picture gets even darker. Take dimethylpolysaloxane, for example, the same anti-foaming agent used in frying oils for McNuggets and Filet-O-Fish. It's not just in food, it's also in cosmetics and even silly putty. Think about that for a moment, a chemical used in toys and beauty products ending up in something you eat every week. And that's not even the worst. McDonald's sauces carry sodium benzoate, a preservative meant to stop bacteria from growing. On paper, That sounds good until it mixes with vitamin C, which is found in many drinks served at the same restaurants. Together, they form benzene, a poisonous compound so toxic that even breathing its fumes can damage bone marrow and cause blood cancers like leukemia, and it doesn't stop there. Chicken McNuggets contain sodium aluminum phosphate, a crisping agent linked by recent studies to nervous system disorders such as Alzheimer's disease. The sausage egg McMuffin, it's packed with chemicals like butylated hydroxyanisole and propyl gallate. BHA is believed to be one reason Urisen's infamous Iceland burger from 2009 hasn't rotted even after all these years. But here's the terrifying part. Animal studies have linked BHA to tumor growth. Propyl gallate goes even further, connected to hormone disruptions in tumor cases in both humans and animals. The list keeps growing. Sodium metabosulfite, used to keep tortillas from discoloring, has been tied to joint pain, lethargy, and diabetes, not to mention allergic reactions in people sensitive to sulfites. Sodium phosphates, the preservative in McDonald's ice cream, raise phosphate levels in the blood to dangerous extremes, leading to kidney and heart disease and, yes, even premature skin aging. The final blow comes from diacetyl tartaric acid esters of monoglycerides, hidden trans fats that push your weight up and your heart closer to failure. Even though some of these chemicals have been reduced over the years, they don't just vanish, they accumulate, quietly waiting for the day they push your body past its breaking point. But here's where the story takes a turn. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has stepped into this battlefield with what many are calling an impossible mission to change how fast food is made in America. He plans to strip harmful preservatives, artificial colors, and sweeteners from our food by enforcing stricter regulations. Companies would have to prove their ingredients are safe, not just in small amounts, but even when eaten regularly. And while he admits the government can't force anyone to stop eating unhealthy meals, his final goal is to make sure people are informed. With improved online tools to track chemicals in popular foods, Kennedy hopes knowledge itself will push these companies to clean up their recipes. The question now is, will it work? Can one man change a system that's been built on convenience, profit, and addiction for decades? Or will these toxic bites keep piling up? One happy meal at a time, until it's too late. Maybe the real change starts with us. Choosing real food, freshly cooked meals, local diners, or homemade plates where the only preservative is honesty. We've peeled back the golden wrapper and looked inside, and what we found is not just food, it's a system built to keep you craving, spending, and slowly paying with your health. McDonald's might smile at you with friendly ads and dollar deals, but behind that smile are chemicals stacking up in your body, quietly rewriting your future bite by bite. The scariest part. Most people still walk in, week after week, not knowing what they're feeding their kids, their grandkids, or themselves. But now you know. The question is, what will you do with that knowledge? Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is trying to change the system, but change also starts with us. With every choice we make at the table, will you keep letting these corporations decide what goes into your body? Or will you take that power back if this opened your eyes? Share it. Subscribe now. Because the truth you don't know is the one that can hurt you the most.
Thank you for watching all the way to the end. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you won't miss our daily content. Now feel free to check out some of the newest and best videos currently shown on your screen. Goodbye, and see you in the next video.